Je lis l'héritage spirituel de Bruno Huissard est exprimé dans son testament. La foi dans le triomphe final de l'amour sur la haine est le but véritable et le plus profond de Neve Shalom, Wahat As Salam. Je suppose que vous confirmez cette affirmation.
Yes, I think it's a very beautiful and spiritual way to see the purpose of this village and to see also the purpose of all peace work around the world. I think that it is only natural for us to aspire to live in peace together, to express the love that we have for life and for each other. And I see that the life with animosity or with conflict or with war is not a natural way for us. We naturally don't want to suffer, and we don't want to make other people suffer. And we can learn by now that when our neighbors or friends are suffering, so we also suffer. So the purpose of living example like this village, Wahat Salam, Neve Shalom, is an example of living together that is an education, really, for other people in our region and in the world to see that this kind of life not only possible, but it's natural. And the fact that we're different from each other is not something that is a problem, but is sometimes maybe a challenge, but always is very enriching for us, very inspiring. Also the fact that outside of the village, in this country and in the region, often Jews and Palestinians see themselves as enemies. So we are challenged to see the people behind this stereotype or this image of the enemy. And this is why I think what Bruno Hussar testified or said, that he sees the deepest meaning of living together like this is true love.
Mais est-ce qu'il n'est pas un peu étrange que votre exemple, depuis 30 ans, n'ait pas été suivi ailleurs? Ce qu'on souhaiterait, c'est facile à dire et c'est difficile à faire, bien sûr, mais ce qu'on souhaiterait, c'est de voir d'autres Neve Shalom, Wahat As-Salam, pousser tout autour sur la terre, tout autour de Jérusalem, et ça semble ne pas être le cas pour l'instant. Comment on peut expliquer le fait que vous n'ayez pas donné l'exemple à d'autres?
Well, we can explain what we are. We cannot explain why other people, don't take initiative and do the same. We can try to understand the dynamic of the conflict that we have in this region. I think that many people like us, grassroots people that really want to live in peace, and we want to work from bottom up to change the situation, but we need the leaders and the politicians to also go in the same direction. I think that in this region we are very unfortunate because of the political situation, the foreign interests, and the fact that we didn't find the right leaders to lead us in the way of peace. But I think that we in the village, we represent other organizations and people, thousands and thousands of people that would like to live in this kind of way together.
And I think that you are helped to that with so many visitors you get from the whole world, bringing to you saying to you, we are with you, we hope you will continue, and we hope you will success in your démarche. That's my way, you know. I come to you saying I'm so happy that you exist. Because when I read the book of Evi and Eyas, I was surprised by this story, which is in a certain way incredible, you know, and a certain way marvelous, you know. And when we come here, naturally we bring you this testimony of love, of admiration and love of what you do, and naturally we are also saying, tell us what we have to do to help you and to help peace. May I ask you this naive question? What can I do myself to help you and to help building peace in this country?
So, as you said, it is true that we get a lot of support from outside of our country and our region. We have faithful friends all around the world that are connected with us for many, many years, since the beginning of the establishment of the village. We have very important relationship with France and French people through Bruno Hussard, the founder that used to live in France for many years, and was a French citizen as well. And I think that what the international community can do for us and for peace organizations like us is continue to support, although we know that everybody is very tired of this conflict. Maybe to try and convince their governments to influence our government. In these days of financial crisis, so we suffer because a lot of our income comes from donations from outside Europe and the Western world and North America. And so we need our friends to stay loyal to us and continue and try to raise support in many countries so we can have our education here. Our educational system is supported by the government only in a very small amount, like maybe 10 or 15% of the budget of our school, of our mixed Jewish Arab school, is supported by the government. We try to work so they support more, but it is difficult because a project like ours is not a first priority in this country, unfortunately. So we do need the international community both to support the village, to support peace initiatives, and to stay and to stick to the idea of peace, although everybody is really tired after so many years.
J'ai une dernière question en ce qui concerne le devenir, l'avenir de Neve Shalom ici. Parce que j'entends dire que le village va s'agrandir et va recevoir de nouveaux habitants. Si ça n'est pas indiscret, est-ce que les nouveaux habitants vont avoir, bien sûr, quelque chose à payer pour l'entretien du village, mais est-ce qu'il y a un capital à investir pour arriver ici, ou est-ce qu'ils peuvent être accueillis sans avoir à verser un capital? Un peu comme au début, je suppose que les premiers qui sont arrivés n'ont pas donné d'argent, ils ont donné leur travail, leur enthousiasme, leur courage. Bon, est-ce que c'est encore le cas aujourd'hui, ou bien est-ce que ça a un petit peu changé? Les conditions, disons, de l'entrée dans Neve Shalom, dans l'équipe de Neve Shalom.
Yes, so the future is really to enlarge and expand the village with another 90 houses, 90 families. The situation is different, but it's not very different because this village is made out of individual families, and each family is building their own house. In the very beginning, we had some sheds and caravans where people came to live, but later each one of us had to build their own house. So this is the same. People that come to live here, they have to have some capital to build the house. What is becoming more expensive now is the land, leasing the land from the village, that we decided that we want to also pay for the land, although the land is private and we own the land. But we decided that each family will pay something to lease the piece of land, and then we have a lot of tax to pay, more than in the past. A lot of tax to pay. So each family that wants to come and live here, they do need a economical basis to come and live here. We hope that in the future we will be able to expand if we can get more land, like for example state land, that will allow us to expand. This was not possible until today, but we hope for the future.
The land at the most beginning was owned to Latrun, to the monastery of Latrun, and monastery of Latrun gave you a certain land or sold you a certain land. How was it? If I'm not indiscreet.
Yeah, the story is very nice. It's a story of friendship between the village and the monastery of Latrun and the head of the monastery. So the first contract was signed with Bruno Hussar more than 30 years ago with the head of the monastery back then. His name was Father Eli. And he supported the idea, and they gave a piece of land for this experiment. They didn't know how it's going to work. Later, like in the last maybe 10 years ago or more, it was clear that the village is a permanent village, and we wanted to change the status of the land so we can build private houses. So there was a long negotiation until finally the monastery and the head of the monastery, Père Paul, agreed together with the Vatican that they will give half of this land to the village for peaceful existence and for the village to keep its idea always. So half of the land was given as a gift from the Vatican, from the monastery of Latrun. Well, I was a parent in the school as well. I raised my 3 children in the village, so my 3 children studied in the school. And for me, it was very important that my children grow up in an atmosphere of pluralism, of tolerance, of accepting the other, and also of respecting the differences. Because in other schools, in this country and maybe in other countries, so there's always one culture that is dominant, one language, one religion, and the others that are different have to adapt. And in Israel, as general, the school are separate. So if you're Jewish, you go to the school only with Jewish Israelis, and you don't learn, you don't get to know the other. And if you're Arab, vice versa. So for my children, it was a very enriching experience to grow up with Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, and to grow up with 2 languages. And what is special about our school, and this is very important not to forget, is that each one feels equal, feel the same status. His or her culture, language, religion is respected equally. No one feels like he's a minority or she's a minority in the school. And I think this is the secret, this is the key for any other educational system that wants a mixture of cultures, religions, languages, is really to treat them with equality and respect and dignity for all.
It's marvelous to think, you will tell me, c'est merveilleux de penser, vous allez dire si je me trompe, c'est qu'un Neve Shalom, un petit garçon ou une petite fille de 11 ans ou 12 ans, parle les 2 langues couramment, hébreu et arabe. Est-ce que je me trompe?
Well, the situation is not 100% equal in this way, because the Arab children, because of the general society and the dominance of the Jewish Israeli culture in Israel, so the Arab children, they learn faster. So they have their own mother tongue, Arabic, and they learn the Hebrew very fast, and they become bilingual. For the Jewish children, they go back to their villages, because I'm talking about children that don't live in the village but live outside of the village. Most of the children in the school, out of 250 children in the school, so 10% are village children and 90% come from villages around. And those Jewish kids that come from a Jewish moshav or kibbutz or town, the dominant 100% culture is Jewish Hebrew, and so the Arabic is only at school. So they become less fluent in Arabic, although they have, the basis, but we have to still work it out to see how the Jewish children can get the Arabic language better until they leave our school, until they're 12 years old and they leave our school, so they get a good Arabic.
But moi je suis très impressionné quand vous me dites que 90% des enfants viennent de l'extérieur. Ça veut dire qu'il y a une attirance très importante pour cette école.
Yes.
Bien que, justement, les enfants arabes et juifs s'assiedent sur le même banquet.
Yes.
Et est-ce que c'est ça, finalement, qui intéresse tous les parents qui sont autour?
For sure, yes. For sure. I mean, if you ask parents from outside why they send the children here,
Yeah.
you get different answers from different parents, if they're Jewish, if they're Arab. What I hear from parents is that from Arab parents that they like the children to mix in an early age so they get confident in their own identity. They learn the other language, they learn the Hebrew because they need it when they grow up in Israel. Our school is one of the only schools where Palestinians can really express themselves fully. Because it's very important for us, to talk about Palestinian culture, Palestinian narrative, Palestinian history, which they don't do so much in Arab schools outside of this village because of different reasons, also political.
I can guess, yeah.
For Jewish parents, you hear also different perspectives. Some of the parents from ideology of coexistence between Jews and Arabs. Some parents also like their children to study in a smaller school. There's a lot of attention to the children. We have 2 teachers for every class, one Jewish, one Arab. The atmosphere, as you said, the atmosphere is very peaceful.
Oh, it's clear. It's clear.
And so the parents have these reasons to send the children. And sometimes, especially in the Jewish families, sometimes they have to argue with the larger society or the larger family. They don't always accept the fact that the children go to such a school. You can imagine that there are political arguments when there is, for example, they celebrate in the school the Day of Independence for the State of Israel. So it's not obvious that everybody is celebrating. So the Palestinians, they talk about their story and the Jews have to listen. So both the parents that are not used to listen to the other story, they have to listen to it through the children. So this is, it's challenging for the parents. I don't think it's so easy.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shifin.